Hashem svasai tiftach lofia gitzal asacha. We're now in the third Perek of Shmuel Aleph. And in this Perek, which, of course, if we just highlight the fact that Shmuel is the author of the Sefer, so he's writing this. V'hana'ar Shmuel, at a certain age in his life, he's considered a na'ar. Misharisas Hashem lifnei Eli. He is working in the service of Hashem lifnei Eli, under Eli's tutelage. What we have here is a very interesting concept, a life lesson. He is a na'ar. He is, I guess, by some consideration, he is young. But remember, we know from Yehoshua, being a na'ar is not an age thing. Being a na'ar is a mentality. It is the idea that he wants to be learning. He wants to be growing. And he's serving Hashem lifnei Eli. Well, this is a transitional moment for Klal Yisrael, because Eli represents one, and Shmuel is going to be getting Nevuah, which is going to be a very high level, something that is going to surpass. It's that transitional time that we're going to get to the idea of a Navi and a king. And so we're on the cusp of it. We're right there. But it's lifnei Eli. He knows that he's rising in greatness because he is. He's a great person. But it would never be at the expense of his Rebbe. He's not going to go in front of his Rebbe unless he has to, unless he's commanded to, unless he's given the nevuah about it. And that's exactly what we're going to get to. And in contradistinction to what's about to happen, Udvar Hashem hayayakar b'yamim. This is not something that generally happens. Having the Dvar Hashem speak to you was very, very limited in those days. Ein chazon nifratz. Nevuah was not widespread. Now, Eli is a holy man. He has a relationship with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. But people, they're not constant and consistent Nevi'im as there will be. And what happens? Vayi bayom hahu ve'eli shochei b'mkamo. Eli is asleep in it, or sitting in a slumberish position. Ve'inav hechalu kahos. His eyes are starting to fail. V'lo yachol laros, and he cannot see. Is it really that he can't see? Or are we coming again to that point where Nevuah is leaving him? Hashem and his way of seeing is dwindling, and the shining rising star, Shmuel, is going to be gathering all of that vision, and it's a very sad moment that it's kind of an ominous moment. Now, who else? We know Yitzchak. Yitzchak, his eyes started to fail and started to weaken later in life when he recognized what was happening with Esav. And here, Eli, he knows exactly what's happening with his sons, and his eyes are starting to fail, which again, very interesting, that parallel. B'ner Elohim terem yachbeh, and the lamp of Hashem hadn't gone out yet. Again, look at this imagery, the imagery of a light of Hashem going, dwindling, not being able to see. It's so beautiful to highlight the idea that the ner of Hashem never really goes out. We've said that before, even when we learned about it with in the Mishkan. No, so it's just going to be transferred over, and it's going to be Shmuel that's is shochev beheichal Hashem. He's sleeping in the heichal of Hashem. You can't sleep in the heichal of Hashem. You can't even sit in the heichal of Hashem. So what is going on with the Aron Elokim? Here's another life lesson. Shmuel's heart and soul and mind was in the heichal of Hashem. So it was as though he was living there. So many times, so many of us would love to live in Israel, love to be in Eretz Israel. And as long as we really wish and dream for the day, it's as though we're there. And that could be for anything. Wherever our heart and mind is, that's where we're really residing. Vayikra Hashem el Shmuel vayomer hineni. And now Hashem's calling to Shmuel, and he says, hineni. And he runs to Eli, and he says, hineni ki karatali, like you called me. And Eli says, no, I didn't. Go back to sleep. And he goes back to sleep. So this is the occurrence number 1. Now, why did he think that Eli was the one calling him? Well, because Hashem, in a way to make him feel comfortable, used the voice of Eli, someone he was used to, because he doesn't want to scare him. The guy's going to pass right out. Oh my goodness, Hashem is appearing to me. So he calls to him, and then Hashem calls him again. And again, Shmuel gets up and he goes to Eli and he says, Hineni, I'm here. Now, he goes immediately. He doesn't drag his feet. Another life lesson. He goes immediately because he cares to go immediately. And he says the exact same thing. You called me? He said, no, don't go to sleep. Now, Eli is the ultimate in teacher, because he calls him Beni. He relaxes him. He makes sure that he's okay. Something, one time it happens, okay, but now it's the second time he got up in the middle of the night. Now, Eli sees the writing on the wall. It's very clear that something's going on. Why would he keep on being called? What's going on? And that really was Hashem's idea. Hashem knew that Eli would understand and perhaps wanted whatever it is that Shmuel's going to tell him for Eli to be aware that this is going on. So, again, Shmuel doesn't complain. You don't hear profanities coming out of his mouth because he was called up in the middle of the night a second time. And now, the Shmuel Ter Miadas Hashem, the Ter Mikla Elav Dvar Hashem. Shmuel had never gotten anything from Hashem before. Hashem had never revealed himself. So, of course, that's like the narration. Like, why would this keep on happening? Vayosef Hashem kro Shmuel b'shlishis, a third time. Vayakam vayilech el Eli, again. Vayomer hineni, here, I'm ready for you. He does it with alacrity. Bezrizos. He does it without getting upset. No profanities. He says exactly the same thing, as though when my master calls, I go. What a beautiful way to serve, anyone, especially a Kadosh Baruch Hu. But if you're going to serve your Rebbe with such absolute kavod harav, it's beautiful. Vayiven Eli ki Hashem kareh lanar. And Eli puts all of the pieces together, and he recognizes that Shmuel is being called. Now, Hashem ki Hashem kareh lanar. Again, how do we get to be the level of a Shmuel? Because he was always a na'ar. He was always wanting to grow and change and learn and take in the Musar and be Misharis as Hashem. And so Hashem calls him again. The third time, he gets up, he goes and he says, and he everything is understood. So now we have an understanding of what's going to happen. Vayomer Eli l'Shmuel. Now Eli is going to be the Rebbe. And he's saying, Lech, go, shachav, go back to sleep. Bahaya, and it be, im yikre elecha, ba'amarta daber Hashem. So you're going to go get really ready, because when you hear that voice, you're going to say, okay, Hashem, I'm listening. Ki shomei avdecha, I'm listening to you. Vayilech Shmuel vayishkav b'mkamo. And Shmuel just does exactly what Rebbe wants him to do. Now when he's calling again the final time to Hashem calls him, he calls him Shmuel. Shmuel. We know that. Who got the double lashon? Who got a double voice, double calling? We know Moshe. We know Avram. We know Yaakov. So he is in really good company. And it's Shmuel for this, for you, Shmuel for the people, Shmuel for this generation, for the next generation, Shmuel for there's a reason of endearment why he's calling him twice. And Shmuel says, Daber. Now, Shmuel doesn't say, Daber Hashem. That's exactly what Eli wanted him to say. Why does he only say Daber? So the reason that he only says Daber is because he's humble. Wait a second, maybe it's really not going to be Hashem. I'm not going to call Hashem by Hashem's name. Are you kidding me? That would be way too outside of my humble territory. And he says, Ki shomei avdecha, I'm ready to listen to you. And Hashem tells him the nevuah. I'm going to do to Yisrael something shetitzilena shnei ozav, that it's going to make their ears tingle. It's not good news. It's really, really bad. Imagine the first time the guy gets a chance to speak to Hashem and he hears the worst news ever. And what's going to happen? that I'm going to fulfill all of the things against Eli that I spoke about. Remember when the Ish Elokim came to Eli and told him everything from beginning to end, and I'm going to tell him, Ki shofet ani es beso ad olam, that forever this punishment is going to be ad olam, and it's going to be for many, many generations. Why? Ba'avon asher yarda, because he knew ki makalim lahem banav v'lo ki hebam, because his children were really bad and he did not rebuke them. He didn't punish them enough. Spare the rod, spoil the child. He didn't get involved. He should have. I'm putting this back on him. His children, remember what they did with their karbanos, that they either took the meat early, or they took the meat away, or they were with women, or they just caused the women to spend a long time on before coming home. Everything that they were doing was just on their own pleasure principle. That's not people who serve me, and everyone who is holy is held to a higher standard. And as we've said before, with opportunity comes responsibility. We don't just get opportunities in life. We get it in order to be helpful, to share, to bring a Kiddush Hashem to this world. And so not just for his own pleasure, let me just take the meat. Irrespective of what their mentality was, it was not okay. And lachein, therefore, nishbati lebeis Eli, I am promising that Beis Eli, im yitkaper avon Beis Eli bezevach mincha ad olam, there is no way that they can ever give a korban. And nothing that they could do because they sinned with a korban. So in kateger nasa saneger, it doesn't work that way. You can't have something that's going to be helpful to you, and it is the direct reason that we got ourselves into the situation in anyway. And that was not very, very good to hear. And Shmuel lays there in his bed ad boker, and he opens the doors of the house of Hashem, and he is petrified to tell this to Eli. And so Eli calls him, Shmuel b'ni, and he says, like he always says, Hineni. But he says, okay, so what did Hashem tell you? He asks Eli. Ko yaseh lecha Elokim b'chol Yosef im techached mimini dabar mikol hadabar asher dibar alecha. If you keep one single word from me, all the curses are going to go to you. Whatever it is, it's going to go on you. Now, meaning you have to tell me. I'm forcing you to tell me. There's not a chance that you can hold back. And that's what Shmuel does. He tells him everything. And Hashem, and what does the greatest of all leaders, teachers do? Ba'omar Hashem hu hatov be'inav yaseh. We just finished a whole Sefer of people, ish hayashar be'inav yaseh. Whoever wants to do did whatever they wanted. And that was really to the detriment of his own sons. They did whatever hatov be'inav, whatever they want. But what's the antidote to that? The antidote to that, you should always remember, my dear Shmuel, is Hashem hu hatov be'inav yaseh. Hashem will always do what's right, and he can do whatever he wants because it's always right. And that's exactly what, with that kind of message, wow. So Shmuel grows up, Hashem is with him, and below hipil mikol d'rav artza, and nothing, everything that was predicted all happens. And Vayida kol Yisrael midam ba b'sheva ki neman Shmuel v'nabi Hashem. And everybody knows Shmuel's going up in the ranks. He is a holy man. He has the Nebuah. And it's amazing. From Dan to Beersheba. Where did we have Dan to Beersheba? Remember, we had it with all the negative stuff. In the last Perek and the last stories of what happened with the Pilegesh Begiva. Here we're having the opposite. Good news is traveling fast. It's going that he is really amazing. By Yosef Hashem lahareh b'Shilo, and Hashem continues to appear in Shiloh. Ki nigleh Hashem el Shmuel b'Shilo b'dvar Hashem. Hashem is revealing to Shmuel. So Shmuel is bringing Shiloh back into vogue, and it's an amazing thing. So what we have here is we understand that Eli, unfortunately, he's been cursed. His family, they're all going to die young, and they're no longer going to be the leaders and have the position of what they have right now. Not the Kohen Gadol. We know that later on, as we mentioned, Abaye and Rava came from Shmuel, and they died at the ages of 40 and 60. And the question is how? Because the antidote to that is to do exactly the opposite of what the Bnei Eli did. They were involved in Torah and Gemilut Chasadim. If you're involved in Torah, you live till 40. If you're involved in Torah and Gemilut Chasadim, you live till 60, the ripe old age of 60. And ultimately, there is a way to make this curse go away, but it is very strong, and it is a result of just, what Eli was held to a very high standard, and what he was able to do with Shmuel, he just wasn't able to do with his own children. Why that is, the judgment of that, there's no way to tell. But the good news is that Eli, all throughout, irrespective of what the curse is, he is still getting such nachas, and he is able to use his Shem Shamayim to help through Shmuel. And so, on the one hand, he doesn't have the nachas and the joy of what his children are able to give him. But on the other hand, he has another child, so to speak. He has he's giving the tutelage to Shmuel, and Shmuel is growing, and Shmuel is benefiting from it. And so Shmuel is able to take those beautiful life lessons and to really learn how to be a Meshari, says Hashem. And so we are going to see the continuation of this in the next parak.